Number 3, Miss Morales wrote a test with 15 questions covering spelling and vocabulary. Spelling questions X are worth 5 points and vocabulary questions Y are worth 10 points. The maximum number of points possible on a test is 100. A says write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the number of questions on the test. So, I know that there are two types of questions. There's spelling questions, which was X. There are vocab questions, which are Y. It doesn't tell me how many spelling questions that there were, and it doesn't tell me how many vocab questions that there were, but I know that there's 15 questions in all. So I know that the number of spelling questions, which was X, plus the number of vocab questions, which was Y, equals to a total of 15 questions. They told me to write it in slope-intercept form, which goes y equals mx plus b. So I need to rearrange this equation just a little bit to make it start with y equals, because see, it starts with x, and I don't want that there. So on the next page in my journal, I'm going to label it as 3A. So we had x plus y equals 15, but my goal is y equals mx plus b, because that way I can know that the b number tells me where to begin graphing, and the m tells me how much to move from that b number. So the only thing that I need to do here is move this x to be behind equals. So since this is a positive x, I'm going to give it a negative x. So that way it would cancel out and it's not on this side anymore. That makes a zero pair. So y equals, if I'm looking at my goal, the x term goes first, and I'm going to push that positive 15 to the back. So this is in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to write that equation over here and put a star with it because that's the one that we'll use to graph. Y equals a negative x plus 15. And I'm going to go ahead and put my 1 in there because that will help me with the slope part. Okay, on B it says write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the total number of points on the test. Okay, so I know my total number of points is 100. So I'm going to be adding something up to get to 100 points. Spelling questions, which was the variable x, they're worth 5 points each. So since I don't know how many spelling questions I have, we'll use the variable x. So the spelling questions, which was x, are 5 points each. So I'm going to write 5 times x, because I'm getting that many points for each spelling question. And then it told me that vocab questions, which is y, is 10 points each. So 10 points for each vocab question. I don't know how many there are, so I'm using the variable y, will add up to be 100 points. I need it to be in slope-intercept form so it's easy to graph. So over here in your notes, label it as 3B so that you can rearrange it. 5x plus 10y equals 100. The more of these that you do, the easier it will get. Your goal is y equals mx plus b. So notice that the y and the equals line up, but my x term needs to be moved to the other side. So that's going to be my first step. Since this is a positive 5x, a negative 5x will help it cancel, but I have to go do that to the other side This 100 does not have an x on it, so that's why I'm not going to line these up. They're separate. They're different terms. Okay, go ahead and cancel your 0 pair. 10y equals, because that's still here, I just brought it down. Over here I want the x term to happen first, so I'm going to put this one, and then I'm going to push that positive 100 to the back, so at least the y is in the correct spot, equals, and the x is okay, but I don't want this coefficient, so since they are multiplying, I divide by 10. So I'm going to put this term over 10 and this term over 10. Negative 5 over 10x plus 100 over 10. So now I just need to simplify. A negative 5 over 10 is negative 1/2 x. 100 divided by 10 is 10, okay? So this now is in slope-intercept form, so it will be ready to graph. You need to write that on B and put a star with it, because that's the one that we'll use to put on the graph. Y equals a negative 1/2 x plus 10. Okay, on C it says graph the solutions of both equations. Yesterday we worked a whole lot on graphing. Remember we said that you start graphing with the B number that's at the back. So you can plot that on the y-axis. And then you look in front of your x to know how much to rise and run from your y-intercept. So I want you to try and graph those. And then whenever you start the next video, you can see if you graphed it correct or not.